Have you ever felt frozen just before taking a step forward in your life? Maybe it was a new project at work, a difficult conversation, or even starting a dream you've been thinking about for years. You know you want it, but your mind suddenly floods with thoughts like, what if I fail? That hesitation, that sudden panic, that voice telling you to wait, it's not just your imagination. Your brain is doing something very real. It's trying to protect you, but ironically, it's keeping you from achieving the very things that could change your life. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why you feel afraid to fail, but you'll also learn exactly how to rewire your brain so that fear no longer controls your choices. Fear of failure is not something new. In fact, it's a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. Millions of years ago, taking a risk could mean the difference between life and death. If our ancestors tried something dangerous and failed, it could mean injury, hunger, or even death. Your brain is still wired with that same survival instinct. Today, the risk is rarely life-threatening, but your brain reacts as if it were. Every time you hesitate, procrastinate, or overthink a decision, your mind is trying to protect you from potential pain, even if that pain is just the embarrassment of trying and not succeeding. But here's what most people don't understand. The fear of failure is not just about the action you're avoiding. It's deeper than that. Your brain is asking, if you fail, who will you be? Every risk feels like a judgment on your worth. That voice in your head isn't just saying you might fail. It's saying if you fail, it proves you're not good enough. And that is what makes fear so paralyzing. It's personal. It attacks your identity, your confidence, and your self-esteem. This is why some people avoid their dreams for years, convincing themselves that waiting is safer than trying. Your brain has very clever ways of keeping you safe, often disguised as everyday behaviors. Overthinking is one of the biggest culprits. You replay scenarios over and over in your head, imagining all the things that could go wrong. Your mind believes that preparing for the worst will prevent failure, but in reality, it just keeps you stuck. Then there's perfectionism. The voice that tells you to wait until everything is perfect is actually fear in disguise. It's your brain saying, if you try now, you might look bad, and that's dangerous. And procrastination, the seemingly harmless act of saying, sure, I'll do it tomorrow, is just another trick your mind uses to stay in its comfort zone. All of these behaviors might feel like caution, but they are really barriers to your growth. Neuroscience has shown that when we imagine failing, our brain lights up the same areas as physical pain. It reacts as though we are actually being hurt. That is why the thought of failure feels so heavy, so real, and so painful. It's not just in your imagination, it's a physiological response. And the more you avoid trying, the stronger this fear grows. Avoidance creates a feedback loop. The longer you delay action, the more daunting the task becomes, and the more your brain convinces you that failure is inevitable. But fear is not your enemy. In fact, fear is a signal. It's your brain telling you that what you are about to attempt matters. Every meaningful achievement starts with fear. Every breakthrough, invention, career leap, or personal transformation begins with that same feeling, your brain screaming, "Don't do it!" The trick is not to eliminate fear, that's impossible, but to act despite it. One of the most damaging aspects of fear of failure is the way it links to your sense of self. We tie our identity to success or failure, so every risk feels like a judgment of our value. If I fail, I'm a failure. If I fail, I'm not good enough. But here's the truth, failure does not define you. Your worth is not measured by one project, one presentation, or one attempt. Your brain just wants you to think it does, so that it can keep you safe from disappointment, embarrassment, or regret. Understanding this distinction is critical because it frees you from the illusion that failing is fatal to who you are. So how do we break this cycle? How do we stop letting fear dictate our lives? The first step is to redefine failure. Stop thinking of it as an endpoint or a reflection of your worth. Instead, see it as feedback. Each attempt, even if unsuccessful, provides invaluable information. Failure is simply data telling you what works and what doesn't. The second step is taking tiny steps. Your brain is less afraid of small risks than huge leaps. Break down your goal into manageable actions and celebrate each attempt regardless of outcome. This trains your mind to associate action with growth rather than pain. Third, embrace discomfort. Notice how your body reacts when fear shows up, racing heart, sweaty palms, butterflies, and sit with it. The sensation is temporary, growth is permanent. Fourth, focus on the process, not the result. Your brain fears negative outcomes, not the action itself. By shifting your attention to effort and execution, you reduce the psychological weight of potential failure. Finally, reward risk taking. Every time you try, even imperfectly, celebrate it. Your brain will start to link risk with positive reinforcement rather than danger. It's also important to understand that fear is a sign of significance. If something scares you, it's often because it matters. The bigger the fear, the bigger the potential impact on your life. Avoiding the things that scare you keeps you small, safe, and comfortable, but it also keeps you from discovering what you're capable of. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the choice to act despite it. Now imagine for a moment that every fear you've ever felt was simply your brain trying to protect you from the unknown. Every hesitation, every overthought scenario, every delay, all of it was meant to keep you in a comfort zone. But comfort zones never create success. They never lead to personal growth. They never allow you to experience the fulfillment that comes from trying, learning, and expanding your limits. Think about the times in your life when you avoided something important because of fear. How did it feel a week later? A month later? Did the world end or did life go on? In most cases, the consequences of inaction were minor compared to the imagined disaster in your mind. And the truth is, you likely learned something valuable even without taking the leap. But now imagine the times you did act despite fear, the exhilaration, the growth, the progress. That contrast is exactly what your brain wants you to ignore. It emphasizes the risk and downplays the reward. That's the trick of fear. To rewire your brain, you must consistently practice acting despite fear. Each step you take builds neurological pathways that retrain your mind. Action creates confidence. Action teaches your brain that failure is survivable. Action demonstrates that your self-worth is independent of success or failure. Over time, fear no longer controls your choices. It becomes a signal that you are about to do something meaningful. Finally, remember this: fear is temporary, but regret lasts forever. Let your brain do its job of protecting you, but don't let it dictate your life. Understand what fear is, respect it, and then move forward anyway. Every attempt you make, every risk you take, every failure you experience is a step toward mastery, growth, and the life you truly want. Fear is not your enemy. In fact, it is proof that you are reaching beyond your comfort zone, and that is exactly where progress happens. So, the next time your heart races, your mind spins, and your body freezes before a big decision, remind yourself your brain is doing its job, but you are stronger than its warnings. Take that first step. Keep moving. Learn from every attempt. Celebrate every act of courage. And never forget, your potential is far greater than your fear.